if you have 20 in escrow, you're not worried about your bills anymore. You're not worried about this. You're leveraging in all the right places. So you have all the right amount of time. If you have that much, you can always do the right thing by everybody.
Today, we have one of the leaders from one of the top teams in the country. These guys are doing, I don't even know, four or 500 plus transactions. It's unreal. Tyler Boening joining us live from Southern Oregon today. And for anybody who isn't familiar with what these guys do, they've got it dialed down to a system and a process. And what I like about systems and processes is that they're duplicatable. What does that mean? It means that if Jeff or Colby or Cindy or Jason or Stephanie decide to do this system and process, you'll get the same what? Results. Who wants the same result? Who wants to be selling more houses than they are right now? Right? Come on, throw that hand up. I love that. Even Tyler's like, heck yeah, why not? Yeah, let's do it. I got capacity. So I love that. Yeah, I see you, Liz. Awesome. And by the way, hey, I love this part of the week. One of the things I'm going to encourage you to do is to one, set an intention for today. Don't just show up and think that by osmosis, you turn on this Zoom call, you go in the other room and take a poop, that you're going to get better at real estate. I promise that's not how it works. You got to be here. You got to be zoned in. I encourage you to take some what? Notes today. Write some things down. Did you know that there was a Harvard study that says, Tyler, I know you know this one because we talk about this on our leadership calls. If you write it down, you retain it at what, like 90% higher? You're
It's
going to
nuts.
do it at a higher level. So I just want everyone to be totally plugged in today. I'm so happy you're here, Tyler. Tell us what we're talking about today, my man.
So today I kind of want to talk about, and like, the theme of it in title is escrow engine.
I
But
love it.
I want to talk a little bit about marketing and farming and doing kind of like a lot of basic things at a higher level. And it's kind of currently what I'm doing, so I'm feeling like super passionate about it
Love
in
it.
this moment right now. Um, and a lot of it is just, I mean, like Jeff said, it's duplicatable. They're all multipliers, right? I'm going to show you a couple little ways that I'm kind of offsetting cost on things, but it's just like a massive like plan of exposure because like I want to talk a little bit about referrals also and how to kind of handle those relationships because they can be so key and crucial to like your world going on right now and just like some little things I do. But
Tyler, hold on. So before you go on, I want to break through some limiting beliefs that some people on the call might have, right? Because sometimes people are like, well, but I'm not Tyler. How am I going to get those same results? So first off, you're part of this amazing team. I know that you're a leader inside that organization. You're a growth leader within the community. You're achieving a lot, right? So and you've run your own team. Like you've done a lot of things. Let me ask you this: do you have a genius level IQ?
no, I'm an idiot.
Right? Are you? I'm an idiot. I don't agree with that, but right? Are you able to? I don't know. Bench press 12,000 pounds? Are you like? Did you? Were you? Are you like a ninth generation real estate mogul? And were you born into money? Like, okay, so you just figured this stuff out, and now you're doing it, and it works.
Yeah, I mean to the T, and like my experience lies. I mean, like most of my world was like I was in construction for a number of years, so that gives me a kind of a different perspective on it. I'm just more of a
I
blue
love
collar
that.
worker, and than anything else who knows how to write contracts. And I'm very on like A to B. Like, what's your A? Let's get you to B.
I love
And
it.
that's that. But yeah, like just I mean the team that I'm on, I mean like we are forecasted to do 500 something transactions this year. And I was part of management for the first 4.5, 5 years that I was on the team.
Love
I
it.
went and started my own team. I realized that to accomplish the things that I wanted to, I needed the power of leverage. And we're also going to kind of speak to that a little bit today
Love
on
it.
how I've executed on that. And I pray that you are taking notes, because I've got notes and notes
Yeah,
and
buddy.
notes in three different places. And to Jeff's point of like the Harvard test and all of that, of like you actually are retaining information, this same brainchild that I have literally written down 4 or 5 times
Yeah,
over and
that's an
over and over.
interesting strategy too, because I do that a lot. Like the other day, I was working out some capital gains strategies, right? And I
Mhm.
wrote this same darn thing down like 5 or 6 times, just kind of wargaming it, really working through it so that I made sure that not only did I understand it, but I had mastery over it in a short time frame. And repetition is the mother of mastery, right? So if you're here today and you find something, look, if you find one thing today where you're like, that's my $1 million tip from today. Not everything Tyler's going to say today is maybe going to apply to you, whomever you are on the call, right? If you're watching on the replay, that's amazing. But there's going to be one thing where you're like, dang it, if I mastered that thing, that'd make me $1 million. Then strip, 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 and master by repetition. Get that thing down, man. I've heard people say, well, I tried open houses. And I'm like, awesome. How many did you do today or last week or whatever? They're like, well, I did one 5 years ago and it didn't work. I'm like, you're an idiot, right? Like that's me saying I tried to play, I don't know, the piano one time and it didn't work for me. Come on, man. You got to practice, baby. Like, if you want to be master of something, you got to get good at it, right? Nobody got good at golf by just showing up at the golf course one time. I know I did Top Golf one time, right? I had some beer. It didn't work out very well, right? I looked like an idiot. I was probably a fail army video by the end of that thing. So don't worry about it if you're not good at something at the beginning. But let's get started, Tyler. Dive in. Where are we going first in this journey today?
So to kind of kickstart on the piece of everything that I was trying to figure out is I started working with somebody who has helped me a lot. She is in escrow, right, in title, and she was starting to help me a lot. And I can't like name any names or anything like that, right? But it's a really good place to leverage, right? Because like I mean, them like anybody else, right? Like they're fighting for your business. They think of all the people who are just routinely like wanting coffee and lunch and everything like that. And by the way, and to that point, you should be eating and drinking coffee every day for free. Right? Meet with people. But my big thing was she started getting inspired to want to come with me because I was starting to produce so many listings. And she's like, "Oh, you're like it's so busy." And I have a mindset attached to like running my own team from before, of like I am never going to take on anybody unless I can properly take care of them, like to the max. And that portion of everything, I was like, okay, so how do I duplicate and how do I multiply on like a massive scale? And because I have like powerful referral partners, I've got all these things, right? And it's good for me, but not necessarily enough to like be incorporating somebody else. But my big thing, I was like, okay, community involvement. And Jake Rockwell, I mean, I went to business school and did like marketing classes and all things, but he like really puts into like the theory of like marketing. It's exposure everywhere. Everywhere somebody looks, they should see your face, no matter what. And so I was like, okay, so I need to be physically in front of people. Right? I need to be in people's houses, and I need to be in their hands. Now, like, how do I execute that? Hands obviously is social media and maybe like in like email blasts and things like that. And like that's how I'm gonna get into people's fingertips. Right? And then I was like, okay, so on the exposure side for physically being somewhere, it has to be community involvement. And so with that, I joined like a smaller chamber. There's a Medford chamber that's hundreds of people who I really just don't even care to meet. It's just way too many. But the more intimate the setting, the easier it's going to be to have like really good conversations. And the whole purpose of that is to always show up as a local first and agent second. And that
Tyler, hold on. Stop on that point really quickly because I love this and I want to do some back and forth here because
hit me.
I
Yeah.
I know your head on this stuff because we've had so much time to talk offline. So, I've heard you on other sessions you've done say, make a friend or get connected or be seen in the community. And I think people hear that really passively sometimes with their ears, right? Like, because you run it through your own filter, right? Like you say, well, make a friend. And I hear that as programmed as Jeff, but that means something different for you than it does for me. So when you're saying community involvement, How involved is community involvement for Tyler when you're out building this kind of like connection?
So, I mean, to that extent, I mean, like community involvement wise, and that kind of ties into like one of the things that I'm doing is it's looking to help other people in any way, shape, or form. But like primarily, especially 'cause I live in a smaller city, Eagle Point, and that's like where I'm an actual local. Kids go to school here, everything like that, and so nothing to like the extent of me. I mean, but I want to be involved with the local businesses, and so of course I joined like the Eagle Point and Upper Road Chamber and all that, so I could get in front of all those business owners, and but at the same time. At one moment, like we have a main street, and so I went, and it took me about a week, and I went to every single one of like the businesses on Main Street, and just asked to set up meetings with the owners. Who owns it? I want to sit down, do the thing, all of that. And for every single one of them, I spent like a 2, 3 day chalk block of time and sitting down with them and asking them. I was like, "What's your vision? Like, where do you want to go? Like, where do you see this going? Do you have dreams of like a patio being outside? Like, how can I help you cultivate that? And like how can we help each other? Right? And the biggest purpose of that on like the make a friend thing is at no moment did I ask for shit. I didn't ask for anything.
You
I
don't
was
need to. They know what you do. Just give them your
Mhm.
business card and then talk about how you can help them.
Precisely. And that's like one of my big soapboxes too is like I really don't talk too much about real estate. And I mean in the sense that I'm usually never the one to bring it up.
You know,
Eh,
one of my earliest coaches, Tyler, and you'll love this, but he used to say, "Don't hump people's legs." Um, because the reality is like, look, and think I'm saying it this way so that it'll shock and alarm you guys into remembering it, right? Have you ever had a dog run up to you and it goes crazy because it's like still got that puppy mode and it's like trying to do your leg and you're like, geez, Louise, get off me, right? You do not want people to feel about you like you're that real estate dog humping their leg. That is not going to work, guys. I just promise you, because they're going to what? Move towards you or away?
Away,
100% of the time,
hands down.
right? So that's a great strategy. Keep going.
And so with one of those, the reason I bring this up is because of what has snowballed into. So one of those sets of people, it was the local coffee shop. And we started chatting and she has dreams of something like a little bit bigger, like hoping that, one day that she could go beyond like a 40-person capacity to like, 75 or 80 so she can serve more people. And when you walk into the coffee shop, you can tell like it's this woman's dream. It is her creative genius, wall to wall. Like she's super passionate about this place. And so I was kind of on point of like, like why don't we do something together? And just like some kind of event or something like that, right? And I just happenstance decided on Valentine's Day. And it was like, okay, hey, Valentine's Day, like we'll do a little thing and like maybe I'll buy coffee for a couple of hours, like, and I set the time of like 10 a.m. to 12, and like buy coffee for everybody, do this, just, I mean, a little snippet of something. And I was like, can I set up a table? And she was like, yeah. So I brought a bunch of like Rockwell swag and business cards and things like that. And I made and created my link tree and put it in a little plastic standy do and with a get to know me on top. So, I mean, the investment really wasn't that much there. And the coffee overall, I mean, like it was like $300. It was like 77 drinks total, something like that. But the turnaround was afterward. Is We are big on the 4th of July here in Eagle Point, right? Like we are America down here, and so the 4th of July is the busiest day of the year, and she turned around and she was like, between 10 a.m. and noon, it's like that's the busiest day I've ever had since I was in business,
Love it.
and I paid for all the drinks, so people were just buying tons of food and running these people ragged, right? And then they're like, "Oh, well, I don't have a drink. Tips, 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 tips." And but we topped the busiest day of the year. Literally, like, there's a 4th of July parade, and there's hundreds of people on the street throughout that whole process. And I was like, and we just beat it, like that's awesome. So it was like. I want to do it again. And so that process snowballed into like the brainchild of like, I'll just do a quarterly event. Because like in my world, my for me it's exposure and just being in more places everywhere that everybody looks. And but for them, especially as a business, I was like, if I can bring you that much business, and I was in restaurant world for a long time, and like I always looked for like everybody always looks forward to the holidays. People are more giving and less stingy, and usually less likely to be a jerk. But I was also on point of like even like your employees, like how cool is that for them? If they have in their world freaking 4th of July and 4 other holidays.
Well, and let me ask you this, because here's something I'm already having this big realization, right? Like I can think of business owners local to me, right? And for those of you who know my life, and it doesn't matter, that's not the point today, but like we just relocated to this new area and I'm meeting the local business owners because I can't help it. That's just like my DNA. I want to know everybody who's doing business and I want to know all the top people. I want to know every developer. I want to know like everybody who's the real deal. But here's what's interesting. What Tyler did, especially, I'm guessing, is this coffee shop owner, he or she, are they a connector?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And so what's funny is a lot of times, like I can think back in my life where I've connected with other business owners, and the owners that I seem to align with the best, and I know this is true for you, Tyler, are the ones who are natural connectors, right? Like they have a huge network. That network isn't your network yet. But what happened, Garen freaking teed after Tyler became the best day that they had in the last 365 days? Do you think they maybe told a friend or two? Or like told their social media with 9 trillion followers, or like I don't know, just couldn't stop talking about it, or was excited to put Tyler's plaque or business card, or say, rename the coffee shop Tyler Boning's coffee shop. Like it doesn't matter, right? It does. Like at this point he or she, they're so excited because what happens is now they see this partnership doing what as a take or a give for them,
Absolute give.
right? It's they feel something coming toward them because something good just happened already. He led with value, not a request. If I go in and I go into Cindy's, awesome cafe and it's middle of the day and I'm like, "Hey, do you know anyone who wants to buy or sell real estate?" She's like, "Can you get out of my cafe?" Right? But if I'm like, "Hey, Cindy, can I give you the biggest revenue day you've ever had?" She'll be like, let's figure that out, right? Like, that sounds really good. I need to pay some bills around here. So that's a different experience for that business owner than being a take. I have too many agents who are running scripts and I see trainings out there where it's like, go into everyone and ask them, who do you know who wants to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? And it's like, geez Louise, guys, that is a take from the get go. That's like walking into a bar. And even if you're polite, walking up to someone you don't know and being like, hey, do you want to go home with me? And they're like, wow, that is really inappropriate. Because it is. You don't know each other yet. What are you doing? Provide some value, get to know each other. Like with business owners, with other people, provide some value, get to know each other. I love it. Keep going.
Yeah, so and thank you for that. Right? Like especially, I mean, because like it's all give, 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 and a portion of that also like in the same sense of I am an agent. I did have another little like plastic standy do. I know they're called like acrylic something, but I had another one that was just essentially like leading to my CMA like home evaluation website. And so I was like, hey, click if you scan this and give me your information. You can win this gift basket. And the gift basket was cool because all I did was go to a bunch of local businesses like the flower shop, the butcher shop, the mill that makes cookies and flour and all kinds of stuff. And everybody just pooled in. So it's just a giant local thing and like an opportunity for me to go talk to even more of those business owners to incorporate them. But then I was like, wow, this was such a huge thing. I mean, like these people feel like their lives just changed. Like I need to like publicize the heck out of something like this. So I started brainstorming and I was like, okay, the exposure thing and how do I get the word out and for like quarterly events like in the best way possible. And the world landed me on every door direct mail. And if you just go to USPS.com and type in your city, and this is like the big thing, and I would love for you to write this down. If you go into that, you can click every single mail route, see how much it costs to get something to go to every house and every business on that mail route. And so for us here, I was like, okay, there's seven. There are seven mail routes. And then I started deep diving into the farming thing, and I have ADD or something, or I don't know what it is, right? But like I hyper focus on things like really bad. My wife was laughing at me because I was like just energetic, balls to the wall, going crazy and just having a blast that day. And then I was silent for like 4 hours, and like started really diving into this because I'm a super high D and I on the disc profile. Right? I don't like to wait. I've never wanted to do farming before because I was like, that's slow. I'm never even going to touch that process. Like that sucks. But as I started looking at the numbers, and this is where I have like a number of my notes, I was like, okay, 1,000 homes, it should equate to 7% turnover from a farm. And I was like, okay, so if 7%, that's 70 homes. I'm like, how long does it take to get there? And then I figured out, so that turnaround is essentially overall, there's a couple of different like running theories that I ran to. What was I saying? 1,000 homes, 7%. What was I just saying? I can't even remember.
You're proving my point about
Oh,
you not being a genius. No,
oh
I'm
yeah,
just
no.
kidding.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Jason's
No.
laughing. Hold on. No, you said 1,000 homes at
Yeah.
7% turnover, 70 will sell. And by the way, I want to clarify for everyone in case you guys have forgotten, that's a seller and a buyer. That's 140 sides, right? So the number
Mhm.
actually doubles because it takes two to tango in case you. All right, Tyler, keep going. I love
Yes.
you,
No,
brother.
thank you for that. Backtracking me. So I was 1,000 homes at 7%, and I was like, it takes 4 years. I was like, huh. So how about I quadruple the numbers
Bingo.
and what's that?
I said bingo. That's
Oh
exactly
yeah, right. So I was like quadruple the numbers to at least 4,000. So I clicked all the things on the USPS site and to get myself over the 4,000 threshold, which ended up being 4,813 mailers. And I was like, okay, how many mailers does it take to actually like really convert? What's the breakdown of that like process? And I started learning that there's what's called a short-term impact, which is a cold lead. It's like you would essentially in this sense of cold, like if you pick something up within the first 0 to 3 months, right, or like 0 to 3, like mailers, it's happenstance. Yeah, you really just kind of landed something in somebody's lap, right? Like at the exact right moment, right? Like it's gonna take longer than that. And
Yep.
so short-term impact is 0 to 3 mailers, and midterm impact is 4 to 9 mailers, and long-term payoff is 9 to 18. And like that's a big range, big scope. But I was like, okay, so if
Hold
I'm
on. Is
gonna
that 9 to 18 months? I just want to clarify.
no, 9 to 18 touches.
Yeah, 9 to 18 mailers. And how often are you sending?
And so that's what it turned into on
Yeah.
I was like, it's like what's the psychology behind it? I was like, where does that lie on like how many times somebody has to see something before they're prompted in their own minds to do something? And at the end of the day, what I created was I was like, okay, so this is a big thing. You don't have to do a mailer every month. A mailer every single month is exactly equivalent psychologically to bi-monthly. I was like, so I only have to do six. I was like, perfect. Like I have to do six mailers. That will at least be six touches. I'm thinking about that 9 to 18 touches. Like already, I'm like, okay, if there's six right there, right? And I can incorporate the quarterly event thing again. So I was like, that could be four, right? Like as a completely separate everything, just publicizing like that local business, right? Like the coffee shop, this is what's going on. Come one, come all, would love to see you, have fun, all the things. I was like, so that's 10. And then I was like, okay, well, how do I find the rest of these? Right? And I'm thinking of 4,813 mailers, and I did all of my math at like thinking about that 7%. I was like, I'm gonna consider myself at half of that. Like if I just get half of what I want at 3.5%, and like that can be a super powerful thing. Like that can work out. Right? Because then I'm being a little more realistic on like what I'm doing. And but I was like, wait, what's next? But then my mind was just on like the mailer thing. And I was like, like mailers, 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 and because like in a way, if it's just a basic mailer, like I'm just sending garbage. And I'm thinking about that garbage thing, and I'm gonna like, I mean, it's just gonna get thrown in the trash, which is fine. Like it's just, hey, here's Tyler's face, boom, and it's in the trash. And like that's really all it is. And so I'm like, that thing, like whatever it is, has to be super big, super flashy, just like really to the point and direct. I was like, okay, but these events and all these things like what like how do I get more out of this? And what I started realizing, I was like, oh, this is a basic thing. And this is where like the gal who's helping me out a lot, right? I was like, I'm like, I need you to figure out like labels and get these things mailed for me every single time, and that I tell you to do this. So I gave her like $100 worth of card stock. Yeah, like nice card stock, and I don't even know how many forever stamps are in, which if you ever go and buy a bunch of forever stamps, it's amazing the costs that they throw at you, and they hand you this tiny little thing. Like, oh, that'll be like 220 bucks. And they're like, here's your tiny little thing, and it's like in your hand. I don't know. It was just a super funny moment. I was like, that's it. I mean, but I was like, okay, so first off, if I have a listing appointment, what takes me a step further? And that's going to be, I was like, okay, I'm going to tell her, and this is like where my leverage comes in there because I want to be so busy and that I don't have time to do any of these things. And but you can do them yourself. And but I was like, first off, just send a thank you card. And two, and the person I was like, I'm gonna let you know, right? And you'll know yourself the day of the listing appointment. Put that thing in the mail like right away so that it shows up the next day, just saying thank you for your time. Like I can't wait to like work with you guys. But taking it a further like little piece, right? One of the things I came up with, and it was also like I have a buyer looking in your neighborhood cards, right? And then I could go door knock those houses also. And but where I come back into, I'm like bi-monthly six mailers, quarter event four mailers, right? And then I realized I was like, oh, I should be touching. I was like, so the day something gets listed. So what happens for me in my world is the moment photography comes to me, I share that file into my gal, right, who's helping me with my mailers, and I share it to my wife. Now, my wife has become like my social media manager because she's just having a blast with it. And so if you can find that and you're blessed with that, right, like take full advantage. Right? But I give it to both of them, and my lovely wife, who I'm obsessed with, she puts it onto like the social media post. She picks like the three favorite pictures, so it's ready to like post on social media, and that's like the portion where it's in somebody's hand, and I'm ready to blast that out. But also at the same time, my gal over here, she chooses her three favorite pictures, and she hits automatically the closest 25 houses to every single new listing.
Bingo. I love that.
And what that is, and this is like the process, so it's just listed. And what it looks like for her is, I mean, it's literally like the person who receives it, like, oh, just listed, trash. But then I want to carry them through the process. So when they say that, oh, just listed trash, the second one is I have a shared file that I attach all of the data and I mark off how many showings I've had since listing. Right? And I also track everything because everybody likes this little thing. Like one thing that I like about it is it shows like how many views and how many saves. Right? So that information is going into this like data piece there, how many showings I've had, everything else because then my process is like just listed trash. And then the next one, 48 showings in 2 weeks, trash. If you have 48 showings and it doesn't sell, there's another problem. But but then the third one is like we're having an open house. And like, oh, trash. But then there's my reason to door knock. Right? And I can door knock those closest 25. It's a set 25 no matter what. Right? And then I'm the face. And honestly, it's when you have a certain amount of listings, right? Like the best thing for like part of the reason I went back to the team is I can have seven open houses at once.
Right.
And
Well,
I
and
can focus
Tyler,
on the door knocking.
one of the things that you're pointing out, and this has been uptrending. If any of you guys study, and you should, by the way, at least on a light level, study digital marketing, right? So that you start to understand what that really means. But the bottom line is, If you're hitting people with a multi-channel approach, you're going to sweep the leg on your competitors, right? I can just tell you very confidently, and we do this like actively right now, just FYI. We'll choose a neighborhood, doesn't matter how small it is. We just know, like right now, we're targeting super high price points, right? Like Lexi took her first listing in town was 1.7 million. And so, but why? Because it's the same amount of paperwork, it's just like 4 times the paycheck. So, seems like a good choice. And so, what we're doing though, is we'll target into a neighborhood. I want them to get mail. I want them to see us in retargeting and geo-targeting ads on social media. I want them to see us on 50,000 different mobile apps because we're hitting them that way. I want them to then get a call. I want them to then get a text message. I want them to get an email. I want, like, if I could drop inside their brain and flick them in the eyeball, I would, right? Because it's every single channel that I can possibly tap into. And guess what? Eventually they start seeing you as everywhere. You don't have to be everywhere for people to think that you are everywhere. You just have to be everywhere for who? For them. That's the trick, right? Well, but there's so many people in town. Yeah, so don't be everywhere for everyone, dummy. Be everywhere for whatever you can afford to be everywhere for. But also, and I'm going to mention this, and then I saw Jason Giles, one of our other amazing agents on here, leaders, unmute, and I want to pull you up on stage. But I will say, if you can be memorable with this advertising, do it, right? And I don't care what that means. Maybe it's the most obnoxious, bright pink thing that I like, whatever, or it's just like neon yellow, or people are afraid to be obnoxious, right? And I'm just like, dude, be obnoxious, because obnoxious is memorable. Be like the real estate gorilla, and then have a gorilla like on top of a house, like it's the Empire State. But it doesn't matter. You're so worried that everyone's going to judge me. Yeah, they're going to judge you while you go bankrupt. Why don't they just remember you? That's better. By the way, that's better. Okay, Jason, what's up?
Well, I want to jump in because, it feels good to be back, right? And there's a reason why I want to jump in today. But I took notes, and my first note was Tyler's not a genius. So I've got that down so far. But what I wanted to share, what I'm hearing in this is when you talk about the percentage of the 3.5%, what hits me is that if all of those people got that and they remembered it and they knew your name, how many people are they going to talk to that aren't even in that mailer list about the positive experience they got? And if we go by the rule of they're going to talk to 3 people when they have something that they like, you take that 3.5% and you multiply that, you're hitting, hundreds and hundreds of people off of that, right? So, and then the next thing, when we're talking about this marketing and everything, this is probably more cost effective than if we wanted to put our name on a shopping cart at the local grocery store, which does, to me, not much. If anybody does that, that's great, but it doesn't do much. This right here does. And when I'm thinking about this, it doesn't matter if you're selling 1 home that year or if you sold 500 homes, you're going to look like the person who sold 500 homes. When you're putting yourself out there like this, they're going to be like, man, this person's everywhere. They're everywhere. Man, they must be doing a lot of business. That's a perception, and then they're going to be, you're going to be top of mind. So that's what I see with Tyler working on. And I wish he would throw my name in there for free, but apparently he won't. But that's what Tyler's working on is 1, 2, 3 years down the road, his phone's just going to start ringing and ringing and ringing from his consistency of all of these activities that he's doing. So this is powerful, man.
Well, and
I'm glad to be here.
The math approach, and Jason, it's good to see you too, brother. And for anyone who doesn't know, Jason's great agent up in the Mid-Willamette area there in Oregon. But one of the things that you were talking about was running the math, Tyler. And I think too often we try to just get like a happy feel or just like, I think it's going to work instead of just getting the math. One of my very favorite things, by the way, I did EDDM for a while. This has been a minute, so I'll be honest on that. But I actually think it's gotten more impactful, not less, over time, because fewer and fewer people are doing it. Everyone thinks they need to be on social media. And the hilarious thing is everyone's running to the right. Maybe you should go left. I love that you're going to hard mail. And by the way, here's the funny little trick, guys. You can use your mailer to drive people to your what? website. You can use your mailer to drive people to a video or to your social media or to, by the way, I would say to a website, because then that website should have a pixel and then you can retarget them. That way, if they don't register or subscribe, you still know who they are. You can still advertise to like 1,000 people for like $1 a day, right? It's nothing. So there's kind of a, and by the way, that's how I do know that Tyler is a genius, because he's doing stuff that other people aren't doing in a way that is resourceful and is going to run past his competition. Because everyone's doing what now? Everyone's like, I gotta have the best social media ever. Here's me in a, in a bikini in front of a Ferrari. And it's like, nobody cares, dude. Chill out. That's not gonna, nobody cares that you're successful. That doesn't help them sell their house. Why are you focused on you? Stop putting yourself in the middle of the frame, right? Put a dog in the middle of the frame. People click on that a lot faster than they'll click on you. I promise you guys, puppies win the game, right? I got one right here. He's cute as all hell. I love it. It's good stuff, Tyler.
Yeah, so on the overall, I mean, to kind of like pull everything back in, thinking about like those 9 to 18 touches, and I'm trying to bump up that number. I was like, my bi-monthly thing is worth 6. I created a 6-touch plan for the closest 25 houses in proximity for everything that does go up, right? But then also 4 for my quarterly event. So I'm like, 6 bi-monthly, 4 quarterly events, 6 just listed, and I did one more. I was like, I can do a happy holidays one to make it 17. So I'm just shy of that 18th touch. But thinking about that, it's like in the course of a year, because even on the overall in 1 year at 6 times, that 4,813 mailers is 28,878 total
Boom.
is going out to all these neighborhoods. And I was like, okay. And every single time, and this is like definitely take note on this because I'm still thinking about local businesses and like what to do there and how to incorporate people and everything like that. Because 7 mail routes, 400 or 4,813 mailers, that totals $1,073.30. And I was like, okay, so over the course of a year, that's $6,439.80. But for that 1,073, I don't want to pay for it. So now, and part of being the chamber and having all those business touches and everything like that is I'm finding local vendors and interviewing 4 of them at a time and asking them if they would like to be part of my mailer. Because usually what people are being hit up for is like, you can do this marketing plan for $4,000 and I'm asking for 200. So all of them, $200, $400, and I'm like, I want 4 people because if I'm sending out one sheet on one side, I want it to be me. And on the other side, I want it to be 4 local businesses with their coupons or their like sales that they're having or whatever else. But
Love
for
it.
people that can turn around that if they get one call, they make hand over fist. The house painter or the like major cleanup crew and the landscaper, they could end up with a client for life for how like so that is where I was like going toward because then I was like, okay, so for $1,073, all of these guys contribute $200 a piece right, as their buy-in. Right? So I get $800 total. And also I'm like, okay, so you send me all your graphics and everything for me to freely use, and then I can expose your stuff everywhere, but also at my quarterly events, every time I have a table or at the 4th of July parade that's coming up, I have a little 12-foot by 12-foot space. Bring me your swag.
Well, here's what's interesting. That's a partnership agreement, right? For anyone who doesn't like speak, let's call it traditional business parlance, right? It's like a joint venture agreement between your business and another. You don't need to ink it, right? You can just high five or put it on a napkin or just, kiss, whatever you guys do to seal your deal. But here's the back of the card. He's getting the whole card paid for through OPM, other people's money. Write that down. OPM, other people's money. And guess what he did? Tyler goes to this business owner and he's like, hey, if you get one new client, what's that worth to you? Man, $7,000, $10,000. That's my average. Awesome. Would it be worth $250 to send out 28,000 mailers? Imagine the power of that script. If I'm a business owner and I run a painting company and somebody's like, listen, I can get you in 28,000 times in front of people for $250. For those of you who haven't done digital marketing, that's not possible in digital marketing. Just FYI. It's not. And I did here's the hilarious thing, Tyler. I'll put this in I put that in the chat. 28,000 touches, 1/10 of 1% conversion is 28 sales at 10,000 gross commission per sale is $280,000 in gross commission income. Guys, this is not rocket science. You're just making it too hard for yourself, right? This is 28,000 touches. You can have like a tenth of 1%. 10% of 1% can actually convert to anything. Even if half that happened, you're at 140,000. Even if half that happened, you're at 70,000. Like, when do we need to keep dropping the hammer before it's worth it? The answer is when it pays for itself. Oh, wait, it already did because you got somebody else to pay for it. So what are you waiting for? Hang up the phone and go do this right now. I love it.
And like that portion of, so I mean, all those numbers add up and everything is paid for. And there's this tiny little chunk of like monetary everything left. And so then who did I go to? I mean, but the title humans. And there's like certain rules they have to follow and they have to approve like where their logo is in correlation to my face or whatever I don't even care. I mean, but they're like, cool, dude, I'll send you the proof and you can move crap around. I'll share the Canva file with you and you can move stuff on your own because actually I just don't want to do it and you can do it yourself. And so literally that $1,000 cost is gone. And all I get to do is go out and have fun and meet local business owners, hang out with them and like really I mean like at that kind of a cost. And then on my also my quarterly event and plus the 4th of July, like your stuff's just chilling all with me. It's all right there. And
So Tyler, because I got to ask this, and I want to make sure because we've come full circle here, right? At the beginning, Tyler's like, I just go hang out with some local business owners and I make sure that I understand what they need and zoobazabazi. And then now you guys are understanding that those few conversations and the people he's connected with have led him to have 28,000 impressions that cost him $0. Now, I'm just curious, how many other people on this call have figured out how to have 28,000 real estate conversations with local homeowners for $0 this year? And then you're like, well, why does his team do 500 plus trades? Yeah, there, that's why. That is why, because they're thinking differently than you are. So guess what? How much money did that cost? $0.
yeah.
Who on this call can afford $0? Yeah, put your hands up.
And I know you're like the super pro. I mean, you're keeping an eye on the chat, right? I haven't missed any questions or anything like that.
No, we're good.
No, okay.
Everyone's just saying that you're definitely a genius and that I'm an idiot. So, all right. Here's Jason.
I looked it up while we are doing this. There's a new thing I'm using called Chat GPT. I don't know if you've heard of that, but came out a few weeks ago. Anyway, so I looked it up. What would a mailer cost through a marketing company in Oregon on average? And to do a marketing mailer for one business to hit 5,000 people on like a colored type printout would cost that business $7,000. So when Tyler's going in and saying for $200, I'm gonna send this out and hit 4,800 people, that's a huge value to that business versus what they pay on average to like a marketing company to do the same thing that Tyler's doing. So what I'm getting to here is that you're bringing a lot of value to these businesses. So when you go and you do this, it's a huge savings for them. So again, coming from a place of contribution, from value, that's huge, Tyler.
No, and that's the like most fun part because then my last quarterly event it was Mother's Day, and for that uh, it was super fun because again I partnered with the local flower shop. And that's the thing, and too, is like once you start doing this, because like I have a fun thing. So if I hand out my business card, it's either digital, right, or this is just like a fun tip, or it's a magnet. And I carry 6 of them at a time. Because every single time I hand it to somebody, like one, there's some weird psychological thing with people with magnets, and they really, really like them, and people will take the card like, well, that's hefty. Hey, so like pro tip for these on Canva or I don't even know what the Etsy and all the junk or whatever they are. Hey, if you order uh magnetic business cards, hey, you get like 400 of them for like $1,000. But if you go to Amazon and just type in business card shaped magnets, you get 100 for $15. And that's what I'll do on like Sunday afternoons or like when I'm like chilling, watching a movie with the kids or anything. I'm just like a machine. put my card on the magnet, peel it, put the card on the magnet. And but like now, like with all those local businesses and the coffee shop, the flower shop, the butcher shop, the Eagle Point Mill, all these places have stacks and stacks of my cards there. So it's just a handful more places. And like the coffee shops even like using them as like decoration across like their like POS system and cash box and stuff. And but every single time somebody goes there, they're just seeing more and more and more and more of me in all of the local places. Not at Walmart. God, I hate Walmart, but they're doing great though. Good for them. But like, so it's just like more exposure over time. So like, that's how I'm kind of like tricking myself and other people, I guess, into like say like I don't physically have to be there, but between signs in the ground, right, and everywhere local that everybody goes to, it's more and more exposure over time. And like, and I have like my mailers adding up to like 18 total touches, or 17. I think I'm like one shy, right? And, but all those touches, but then there's more touches every single time somebody goes somewhere. And I'm like trying to like group in on like anytime I see anybody who's like, we're doing this cult like this event and like Abby's Pizza, and we're doing this thing where half of our profits for this 2 hours are gonna go to this local donation thing. And so I'm just like, oh, you guys are willing. Like, okay, you guys are willing to do something. Like, that's awesome. Hey, like I'm coming to talk to you. Because I want my cards there too. Right. So everything all adding up, it's like it's all, I mean, it's essentially free. And I do personally, obviously, like I purchased the card stock and the forever stamps for my six touch process of like the just listed. Right? But also, then I started taking it a step further, where geo calling, right? Where it's
Right.
like I've always been fascinated by it because what's the guy's name? Who is like just the top tier, amazing geo calling person? Like an amazing agent on our team. Joshua does it too, and it's a duplication of what this guy does.
Yep.
It's like, hey, a house down the street just sold, and you're like, do you need help or whatever it is like
I
that.
love that. It's digital door knocking, right? It's a door knocking with your phone.
Yeah. So I also was like, wait a minute, and like I just thought of another touch, like because my biggest thing is like I want so much exposure with all of this and all of my numbers because last year I had 172 homes sold in Eagle Point and I want 148 of them. Right. So I'm like, how do I knock even more the rest of these people off the map? And it's like, okay, how about this? And I was like, my lady, I need you to do me a favor. I was like, not just Eagle Point, but everywhere in Jackson County, if anything hits the market and goes under contract within 48 hours, I hit the closest 25 houses. And that right there. Right? And then I can make a day of door knocking out of it if I want.
I love that.
But I'm just like if you're gonna touch my property and my ground and my battleground, I'm gonna destroy everything around you. And I'm gonna put you on a forefront war.
I want to reiterate what Tyler just said because I think sometimes we all think like once I have a listing, then I'll start working in real estate. Guys, if there are any listings in your entire town, you can pivot off of those. It's not illegal. I just want you guys to understand. You don't have to even say the address. You could just say your neighbor just decided to sell their house, right? Literally, your neighbor just decided to sell their house. Click here, and it could go through to your KV Core with a little landing page in front of it that's a forced registration. And then it opens up to show them what their neighbor property was. There's all sorts of things that you can do. By the way, also, and I just wanted to mention this earlier, and I'm going to forget to say it, Tyler. One of my buddies was he used magnets as well, but his were all absolutely hilarious. It was stuff like thinking about someone else's kitchen at night. Let's talk. It's like stuff like that. And then it would just be like his little real estate stuff at the bottom. And it was stuff that was so funny that people would put it on their fridge. So like if you're the type, not everybody is, but if you're the type to be funny or like memorable in those ways, go that direction. But I love what you're doing because You can say just listed. You can say just pending. You can just say just sold. By the way, I've done a ton of circle dialing in my career to generate listings and buyers. And here's what's hilarious: if I call up Tyler and I'm like, "Hey, I'm not sure if you noticed, but the little red house right down the street just went pending. We're very excited." I didn't say I listed it. I didn't say it's my listing. I didn't do anything disingenuous or dishonest. But guess what? I'm platforming or leveraging off of a piece of inventory that's moving. And if they say, "Is that your listing?" I'll say, "No, ma'am, it is not." Right? But here's what I'm excited about. It means that properties in this neighborhood are starting to turn. Now, what I can tell you is there are buyers actively looking in the area. And if you or someone you know are thinking about getting ready to sell, guess what? Blah, blah, blah. And we can script it once we get on the phone. If you don't have a phone call, how much sales can you do? And what Tyler's doing is he's warming up the market, but when you warm it at scale, he doesn't have to make 28,000 phone calls to have 28,000 impressions. Smart. Genius, even.
And no, and thank you. It's all just been one ongoing like brainchild for me, and I mean, it was just this one big giant snowball of a thing. And really, like all those numbers, because the 1,000 homes at 7%, and like Jeff, you can whiteboard these numbers if you really wanted to, and with all these touches and everything else, I'm like 7% of
All right, all
4,813.
right, hold on. Let's pull it up because I'm going to leave you on screen. I'm going to pull up the whiteboard because I think this is worth doing actually. All right, whiteboard, new whiteboard. I think I know what I'm doing. All right, is everyone seeing a big white screen now? If I could make it flash, that would wake you guys up. All right, here we go. So hit me up. So what are we doing?
So 1,000 homes,
1,000 homes. Whoops, not 10,000
and
homes. Yep.
you're supposed to convert 7% of those to equal 70 listings
And this is this 7% meaning this year, right? Or over the next 12 months?
over the next 4 months.
Over the next four
I
months.
mean, 4 years. It's 4 years.
Got it. 4 years equals 70 listings
Oh, yeah,
for
it's
four
how
years.
long it takes to convert that many listings.
Yep, got it. Go.
And so that's why we have 4,813 homes.
4,000. I'm just going to say plus because I can't remember numbers. All right, go.
So of the 4,800, this at 7%, it's 336 listings. And the hope is that by quadrupling these numbers, I can get these things accomplished in 1 year. And because then at 3.5%, that I'm always just trying to think it smaller. At 3.5%, that's 168 homes. And so in my world, I'm like, if 172 homes were sold in Eagle Point last year, I am 4 from the mark. Right? And I'm just like knocking those numbers down and everything else, right? Because like the purpose of farming is to gather a 20% market share. But by what I'm doing, it actually equates to 81.4%.
Anyone else have 81.4% market share?
And 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 for me, it's like I want things in twofold. Is like this is like where the high D in me like really comes out, is because like the purpose of this at 81.4% market share is to, one, of course, gather friends and family members and clientele and everything else and gather those listings. But more importantly is I want every single agent in Eagle Point to know that they don't stand a chance, that it's me and Zillow.
Right. You know what's funny about that is there's two ways to defeat your competitors. One is actually defeat them. The other one is psychologically defeat them. Make them believe that they've lost.
Yeah.
And if they believe that they've lost, they stop competing. That's a human behavior. Some of you may have actually been on the wrong side of that equation where you're like, well, I can't compete. I guess I won't try. So and so's doing mailers. I guess I won't start. Oops.
And it's funny too, because like something I love. So I sat down with an agent, and she wanted to talk about listings. She's from somewhere else, and it was just like we sat down and talked a little bit about this, and it's like help her and everything like that. And we were at the coffee shop, and I was like, even check this out. I was like the coffee shop has like this stack of cards, right there next to like the little like sandwich forms that you fill out and to hand to the order taker gal, and and we walked over there, and I was like, all my cards are gone. And there's this Windermere agent who now has her cards in that spot. And there's some other lady who has her cards in that spot. And she's like, oh my gosh, aren't you mad? And I was like, oh, baby, no. They were thinking about me so much that they had to make a cognitive and physical decision to remove me. Like,
I love it.
that's gold. I
Of
was
course
like,
it is.
I was like, hey, I'm so glad that that office is on my mailer list.
Well, and Tyler, let's add to this. Okay, so here's another classic mistake, and Tyler's not making this mistake, which is what I love, but he thinks differently, right? So the average agent will, let's just say they go out, they have a great year, a banner year, they make $200,000. Woo, that's a good year. Man, I'm feeling good, right? All right, awesome. How much did I spend? $200,000. I'm an idiot, right? Because what's left over to grow my business now? How much gas did I put in the tank? Here's something I'm going to recommend to you guys. Yes, use some of these growth hacker strategies, make more money than you need. Use part of that money to offset your taxes, by the way. Awesome. And by the way, 100% bonus depreciation probably coming back on the house tax bill that's coming through. So for those who don't know that, go study that. Your clients want to know that because you can reach out to them and generate business tomorrow based on that information. But the other piece here is Tyler then goes and generates more revenue than the next guy. What can he double down on? Market proliferation. I have a buddy, Mark, out in Atlanta, who did this. He sends out like 200,000 just legal style letters per year, but does like 150 listings a year. Well, what does that cost? It doesn't matter. He's making enough money. We're good, right? Like this is where people get so hung up on that. It's like, well, where do I start? You start here. We just heard how to get started. Tyler's like, well, I'd spend zero. What did he have to actually spend? Time, energy, effort, enthusiasm to go talk to these business owners and generate authentic relationships to provide value for them. Maybe he had to buy some coffee for some people, but then what did it turn into? A connected relationship where now there's belief, trust, value, reciprocity. Now that person puts money in. Guess what happens? Tyler business goes to the moon. And the next time he does a thing at the coffee shop, they go out of business because they run out of coffee. Oops.
Well, that was the thing too, the Mother's Day one. Yeah, like, and this is like where I will say Mr. Rockwell and I get along great because we love being number one. Hey, I beat my own record on Mother's Day. I topped the top sales at the coffee shop again. So now I'm like, okay, my 2 days hold first and second place, baby, like rock and roll. But that because like my big thing is like farming's not dead, you're just doing it wrong. And like that's the whole like plan of everything. And with that, hey, I have a whole like little is that helping anybody? I mean, like I want some feedback. Like what like because I want to know, I mean, between everything right now, I mean this is my call to action. Hey, like and put it in the chat and unmute yourselves. And I'm going to call out all the black boxes: Colby, Luba, Nathan, Doug, Naradia, Jeff, Nathan, Sterling. And like, what are 5 things that you can just go out and do literally today? I mean, it all falls in with like the 15 and 5 rule. Hey, 15 and 5 is 15 touches over the course of 5 days, right? Which you should also be like multiplying or like dividing down. You should do 15 touches in 5 hours, like 15 meaningful touches in 5 hours, whatever that looks like, right? And I'm imagining, and just based on how many people are on the screen, there could be like 15 people, like clients in your database that none of you have even talked to in the last 5 days.
I'm gonna give one super hack on this, by the way. You can't use this very often, guys, but it's a super hack. And we're giving all sorts of marketing gold today, getting a lot, I should say, from Tyler, which is incredible. And by the way, I've been taking notes over here. Awesome stuff today, my man. If you guys ever send an email out to your entire database, do it deliberately make a mistake in that email and immediately send exactly the same email, but with a thing at the top that says correction. And in the subject, say corrected : some of you have received this email from me, by the way. Here's what you've just done. You've landed in their inbox twice in a row. Same content twice in a row. What if it's the same open rate on both emails? You've actually technically doubled your open rate. I just want you guys to know this. There's little hacks that you can do that one like once every 6 months, by the way. Otherwise, people just think you've got fat fingers and so they start unsubscribing. But it's very effective. There's little stuff. By the way, we've been dropping nuggets into the chat here. Like if you're plunking a magnet in somebody's, in their mailbox, make it say, this fridge deserves a better kitchen. Let's go. Right? Or something like that. Like you guys are overthinking it. Like you're like, it needs to say Colby's the best agent on the planet. Nobody wants that crap on their fridge. Shut up. You're an idiot. Like you don't want that on your fridge. Bob's the best plumber on the planet. You're going to like put it up proudly because you love Bob because he cluttered your inbox. Think about it. You have to put yourself in their shoes. What Tyler's saying today is providing real value for people and also then hitting a big enough number of houses that he can just run the law of large numbers. The law of large numbers is if I hit enough houses, an average shows up. And then I can build a business based on the average rather than having to build a business based on my ability to convert one. Right? How many people have ever had that one buyer? You think they're going to do something, then you think they're going to do something. 6 months later, they haven't done anything, and you're going out of business because you spent all your time on that one dummy. Who's the real dummy? Maybe the person who spent all that time on somebody who was unlikely to convert. Go spend 28,000 people. Guess what? You don't have to worry too much. An average emerges and you're good to go. I love that, Tyler. Super smart stuff, man.
No, and like the next step of everything too is because like I'm thinking about all these numbers and like trying to convert and like just figure it all out, like where like and that's exactly it, like figure out that average, and but also at the same time like taking things a step further, and this is like where I was saying like I just got so hyper attentive focused on everything of like carrying it further. I'm like, okay, so if there's 400 or 4,813 homes, just say on a law of average, because there might be older kids, there might be younger kids, there might be grandparents or whatever. And like, I'm just working on the idea of like couples. If there's 4,813 homes, there's likely 2 email addresses set up in both of those houses. So that's a total of 9,626. So that's also one of my goals. I'm like, I need to gather, if it's Eagle Point, so like the promotional things here, the goal is to eventually end up no matter what, and I'm giving myself a year because I crunched all those numbers down to like a quarter life of what they were at that 4 year mark, 1 year, like what can I accomplish? I need 9,626 email addresses. Because with that, man, through like the what's the monkey MailChimp, right? Right? This is why I have help. But through like that side of the process, I'm like, okay, because that like that's free, and I already have. I can hit 12 times to all those people once a month, no matter what, on top of sending them market reports through KV Core. Like, so every single person, I can get every single person in Eagle Point in my CRM and get them all attached to a market report. So they're all getting that every 28 days, no matter what. And I can have a VA just do that, or like I can probably pay $10 for them to spend 2 hours going through everybody or mass doing it or whatever.
For anyone who doesn't know, a VA is a virtual assistant. Keep going.
Yes. But I'm like, there's another 12 touches, right, in their hands. And 6 of them are already done because the exact mailer that goes out, I can email it to them too. I'm
Yeah.
shrinking it down on like how much work is going to into everything. So then I'm like, okay, so I do have to create 12 total, but now I'm also putting myself in their hands.
Hold on, Tyler. So there's a thing called marketing continuity that exists. And for anyone who doesn't know this concept, if I get a postcard from Tyler and it has an image on it and then a QR code that's like, hey, if you want to know about the Zubaza, go to this QR code. Or if you want to see your Zubaza, go to this QR code, right? And so now I go to that QR code. If I go to the website and that exact same image, like the postcard is there, I'm way more likely, like 10 times more likely to convert than if it's now something different and it feels misaligned, right? Or then later that day, I'm on social media and I see the exact same image that was on the the postcard and the website, and it comes across my newsfeed. And then he's retargeting me, and now I'm on 50,000 social media apps, and the exact same image is the image of all of those ads. And then guess what? I get another postcard, and it's the exact same image. And what starts to happen is it becomes what? Sticky. And you want to get sticky, guys. A lot of you are like, I just need to get creative. I'm going to send out 6,000 different things. Meanwhile, the guy down the street sends the same picture of the same dumb cat to 4,000 people 8,000 times, and he does 10,000 deals. Like, and you're like, how did that math doesn't work, by the way. But anyway, how does that happen? And the answer is because it's sticky. I've seen people with the shittiest logo I've ever seen in my life destroy a market because they just stuck with it for 10 years. And they stop messing with everything. Some of you guys are so trying to noodle with everything all the time that no one can, there's no stickiness. And by the way, they're not going to remember your name. Stop Googling your name. Nobody's like, I need to sell my house. What should I Google? I guess I should Google Luba Mulyar. Like, I guess I should Google Jeff Richmond. I guess I should Google Cindy Fabila. No, guess what? They don't Google your name. Do you Google Bob the plumber's first and last name when you're looking for a plumber, or do you type best plumber Tempe, Arizona? Think like the consumer. Tyler's thinking like the consumer. He's getting in front of them. He's creating sticky advertising. He's going multi-channel. He's creating brand continuity, and then he is destroying at 81%. You guys, come on, come on, come on. Nobody has that.
Yeah, and thank you. I'm glad that you like it because God, it's consumed me so much. But like that's the thing, like that 81%, and because so now like we're on the level of like the mailers and like the physical everything. I mean, like that's kind of like the bigger, hairier giant to this because there's so much physical stuff attached to it. But now we're also kind of gathering in on like the email side because where like my cost is going, and for every single one of these homes, and I've already accumulated seven, right, in the court from January until now, right?
Legit.
And that's like starting things long before, like obviously my first event was Valentine's Day, and like
And you're
the
saying that's seven deals.
yeah.
Legit, right?
Mhm.
7 deals on this one strategy, by the way, just since January.
Yeah. And so it's like a little percentage of every single one of those checks goes like, of course, into like my marketing budget, but it's also fueling this because in turn, like thinking about the emails and everything like that, every house that gets listed, of course, I'm going to do a property boost because then that's a nice, beautiful sales funnel right into KV Core to help me accumulate these email addresses. And so people are getting the market reports and then 12 additional touches because I'm like, always chasing that number 18 to have like no matter what the top everything. But then I'm on because like the way that works and like the target marketing between property boosts and KV Core and Facebook, everything advertising, right? Like I am essentially putting myself in front of them in their hand,
You know
right?
what's interesting, Tyler, is you've actually created a marketing company. That's what's funny on the no, I mean that. Like you guys, this is how you think differently in real estate. Thank you, Stephanie. She's like, you have, right? Like you have. You've created a marketing company. You're now going to businesses and you're saying, listen, by working together, we can stop worrying about what slice of the pizza we all get, and we can just get a bigger pizza together. Okay. And it's a better option for everyone. I don't know if you guys know this. It's like a synergistic, collaborative Clydesdale effect or a marketplace effect. When we pull multiple people together, it's not 1 + 1 = 2 anymore. It's 1 + 1 + 1 = 10, right? And so that collaborative effect, plus business owners love it, right? Safety in numbers. How many gazelles want to go down to the edge of the water all by themselves and find out if there's a crocodile, right? Not very many, but they'll go as a herd. So I just want you guys to know, go with the herd. Find your herd. Find the other people who are like, yeah, I want to market with you. Like we're homies. Like let's go do this together. And then find 4, 5, 6 other business owners and start collaborating and build a tribe around that. That is huge. I love that.
And then so I know I feel like I'm hitting like with so much like information and numbers and all the like nerding out I've done, and I
Keep
hope it's
going.
so that's kind of like my focal point on, getting in people's hands. So that way, like I'm in their fit. I'm just like, it's that exposure over time. Your face is everywhere, no matter what. But then in lieu of that also, and keep in mind, right now I am in Google jail. God, I hate those guys. And like, Google's driving me nuts. But
Just change your name legally. You'll be fine.
yeah. So one of the things that Jake taught me, okay, I always try to take like lessons a little bit further. Is like if so, like one of the things is like the Google My Business, and this is like to like play off of like Scott's session, right, where you can input your own keywords, and like one of those things that I had always done was like every single one of the top agents in the valley, their name was there. Right, like that if you Google this human, I pop up. You Google this human, I pop up. You Google her, I pop up. Right, because those keywords all filter and flow back to me. But in lieu of this part of the process too, for what I'm doing with, I guess, my marketing company, right, is every single local business, if you Google it, I'm going to also pop up. So if you Google the coffee shop, Ace Hardware, I mean, all of those things, right, everything localized, everything that is Eagle Point, I will always pop up.
Yeah, that's
No.
called a sweep. For anyone who doesn't know, that's called a sweep. That's where you're providing value for other people, but you're intermediating the value, meaning it's all going through you. And as a result, it's all also yours, right? Big companies do this. It's called a data sharing agreement. Do you want to know who the biggest is? Zillow. How much is you personally, anyone on this call, how much is your real estate business worth? Right? I don't know, 100,000, 500,000, $1 million, whatever it's worth. Do you want to know what Zillow's worth? $20 billion. Do you want to know why? Because they've got all of your leads. That's why, right? And that's a data sharing agreement. When you start thinking differently, you're like, how can I position myself where I'm providing value? The value is so irresistible, the other person wants it, and they're okay with me delivering the value through me. And as a result, guess what I've done? I've created 15 channels that are all driving traffic back to me. And as a result, who emerges as number one? You do. Think differently, get different results. I am so excited there are so many people on this call today because you guys need to be taking notes on this one.
So, yeah, I mean, and that's like part of my thing is like, I started thinking about it with all of the exposure everywhere else, like going on at all times. And that, like, I'm just like Joe Schmo who lives up the road. If he Googles Ace Hardware, see what time they close, and he sees me because he Googled something with Eagle Point attached, right, that like one, he's already got an email from me. Two, the last time he was on Facebook, he saw my face because there's some like pretty house with a beautiful waterfall out front or whatever the hell. Right. But then he goes and sees my face, and then he goes into that store and he sees my face again. I'm like, that could have the potential that every single time anywhere goes anywhere in this town, they have the possibility early on, the fact of by the end of like when I fully take over and dominate all of this, and like if you want to go somewhere, you're probably gonna see me 4 to 5 times that day. Like son of a bitch. And that goes, because like as I said, like my high D, like my dominating factor of everything. I'm like, and that goes for every single agent who ever rolls through my town. And if any agent lives here, because I'm sure there probably are, they like I'm going to become the biggest thing that they like want to be, which also like falls in line with like attraction purposes, right? Because there is inevitably, I feel, going to be a point where I want people to feel so lost, right, around me, like within my competition, that they have no idea how to keep up with me, that they are forced to call me and talk to me and ask me, right? If they can get over it, like, I mean, drop their own ego
Love it.
or something like that. I mean, but like I want every single piece of focus to be on me. So yeah, that's kind of
It's brand
that's
domination, right?
yeah.
That's exactly what we're talking about today. And I think that this is the thing that I realize from this one session, guys, is that if we go all the way back to the beginning of this, what was the beginning of this? Talk to some local business owners. And I'm sure there were people that were like, nah, I've done that. It didn't work. And then they like logged off or whatever, right? Here's what's funny on that. If they had stuck around for the entire process here, there's a whole stream of thought that connects and goes deeper, right? And one of my early coaches said to me, and I know you do this, Tyler, so this is an exciting moment because it's such a reflection of who you already are. Don't go a mile wide and an inch deep. go an inch wide and a mile deep. And you guys, you got to go a mile deep on something. Otherwise, your business is just playing around. You're just playing around. You're not going to dig a well, right? If you want a well, if you want to have water all the time in your business, if you want this thing to be real, you got to dig a well. You got to go deep, baby, right? Too many people going an inch deep on everything. I did like a social media post last month, and then I sent one email last year, and then I sent a mailer that one time, and I did an open house last decade, right? And I keep changing my freaking logo every 10 seconds. You guys, go a mile deep on something. That's what Tyler's talking about today. This was all one strategy. I don't know if everybody realized that. Everything he talked about today was one ecosystem of connectivity. And there's a reason it's working. It's because it's all one damn thing. It's not 100 things. He's not all over the place like most agents running around with their hair on fire, right? Look what happened to me. Come on, man. It doesn't work. Put your hair on fire, you lose all your hair. So I love this, Tyler. Really, really smart stuff, man.
And like part of that like leverage process is like so much of this, and like my six touch series to everything that gets just listed to those 25 closest houses, like all of these things, and because I have a title company involved, my whole thing is like I didn't design. I mean, any of that. And, like there are a couple things I have designed, right? But I mean, it takes me freaking 17 hours just to make a stick figure on Canva. But all of these things are like the only piece of it is, and like because title, like they have the sticky whatever mail tags with all the phone numbers and all the addresses, everything. All I've done is say, yeah, anytime I get a listing, I'm gonna put in that you're my preferred escrow. You just do this all. Okay, so I've leveraged the crap out of that. Right, and it's starting to like really like fuel all of it. Is even now, and this isn't in like a D-bag, like cocky way, but like I have nine in escrow right now. And God, how many? I think I've got 16 listing contracts signed outside of what I have live right now.
Get that.
And they're all just on the different timelines of like painting this or doing something on the outside of the house or cleaning the front, getting just ready for photos.
One of my
And
very favorite categories, and really awesome, as you can tell why Tyler's the top real estate agent, but also coach. So here's one of the things, guys. You can get a listing agreement signed well in advance. I don't know if agents just don't know this or if they just choose not to do it. But if you talk to somebody and they're like, I'm thinking about listing my house in 4 months, there is a legal and compliant way in all 50 friggin' states for you to go do that business and to what I will call to control the economics of that business before it ever happens. And if you're getting in business, this is called going upstream, right? So think about it this way. If I go to a fishing hole on a river, imagine a river, and Tyler and I go to a fishing hole, right? And Tyler and I are hanging out at this fishing hole and we're fishing. There's good fish. Heck yeah, man, we're catching some fish. And Tyler's like, hey, I'm going to be back later today. I'm going to go for a walk. And he goes upstream from where I am to another fishing hole that's earlier in that river, right? Where all the fish are before they get to me. And he puts a big ass net in the water and he catches all the fish. How many fish am I now catching downstream from him? None. Why? Because he just swept the leg, man. He Karate Kid style. He just won the game because he went upstream. So what this is a powerful strategy, but you have to think differently. How do I get in front of business earlier? And with listings, you can control the economics of that deal before it ever makes it to market by understanding how to convert that into a listing agreement that will go live at a later date. Talk to your broker, make sure you understand how to do it legally. But I'm telling you guys, this is a real strategy. And there are agents in your market right now who have 35 listings you've never heard of that are coming out later this year because they've already swept the leg. And you're thinking, why are there no listings? It's because that guy already got them. Tyler already got them all.
well, and that's like such a like huge factor of everything of like what like my big goals are from all this, and like and I hope, I mean, as a call to action, like you should really sit down and create these kinds of like things and goals in front of you as well, because everything that I'm doing, you have to have like a particular number in your head from the farm, the way that everything like divides over like the course of 12 months, right? It's gonna, I mean, at the half-life number, 168 divided by 12, Jeff, if you can hit that for me. Hey,
Hold on, let me get I'm gonna get the what do you call it? The whiteboard back up here.
oh,
Let's see if we can do it. Hold on, new whiteboard. My last one had some weird drawing all over it. All right, go. Give me the
100,
numbers.
168 divided by 12.
168 divided by 12. All right, dang it. Well, that's not a calculator. Hold on. 168 divide by 12. All right, that's 14.
Hey, so that's literally 14 listing appointments a month. Hey, which is like, so like the world just from this source. I'm like, okay, like this is how I go on 2 listing appointments a day, every single day, 5 days a week at least. I mean, probably six. I mean,
And how many cold calls are you making?
none anymore.
Come on, guys. If your mouth didn't just salivate, it's because you checked out already on this call.
And it's like there's three big like sources of everything, right? I mean, like when it comes to like any of your lead sources, right? Like there's your farm, like and then sphere and a third one I can't even remember. Right? Right, but like between them all, I'm like if this one is really just kicking 14, and then I get like a usual thing from just like talking to my friends and hanging out and all of that fun stuff. I mean, like, and that just adds another 4 or 5. But then that's on top of like the high end referrals that I've kind of talked about before, and between like personal finance advisors and lawyers, right? And like the marketing sales manager people at retirement homes, right? I mean, who are just fueling into this, and this same process is happening in all these other places. The goal at the end of the day, no matter what, and by especially by like 1 year, 2 year, 3 years, I map it all out, is that I want no less than 20 in escrow at all times, and I want no less than 40 live listings, period, at all times. And I never want it to slide below 20. The moment one closes or one drops out, it's replaced by another, no matter what. And that kind of thing, especially when it comes to like the Eagle Point area that I'm trying to take over, is if I control all of the prices like that. I mean, I don't even know. That's an ungodly amount of power if I control the entire price tag of an entire city, then I can control how quickly those things move based on like various factors of like knowing like where like people are moving from out of the area, because I can always be promoting like Seattle, Tacoma, Los Angeles, Sacramento, Boise, Idaho. Those are the places that everyone like comes from. If I'm promoting specifically like in those kinds of places, follow your lead sources and follow your area codes, when you get them, so that you can better direct your own marketing. But I'm just like thinking about all of that, and like if I control the city,
Yep.
right, and every single price and the median price and the average price and everything else, right, like at that point, like I have beaten Zillow.
Well, and that's the funny thing is consumers forget that they actually have all the power, right? If you have a highly desirable neighborhood, all the neighbors can get together. Agents can't. All the neighbors can get together and be like, let's just price our houses $100,000 more than they are right now. All the neighbors who are listed could do that, and overnight, the appraised value in the neighborhood would go up. Some of them wouldn't hit appraisal on the first try, by the way, but eventually you'd start getting cash buyers and all this stuff. You would uptrend that neighborhood aggressively. If you control inventory, you control the entire market. And just for anyone who doesn't know, you'll notice that Tyler didn't say, how many closings do I have per month? He said, how many do I have in escrow at all times, right? The next one's about to go out of escrow, meaning it's going to close or whatever, it terminates, things happen, right? But if he's got 20 in escrow at all times, does he have a predictable business? Yes. Can he pay his bills every month? Yes. Are things okay in his business and he's not like losing sleep? Yes, right? Like this is a real way. And generally, by the way, the multiple is 8 on that. So if you want to know if I have 10 in escrow at all times, I'm on pace for 80 for the year. There might be more fallout at different times based on terminations and cancels. That like right now, there's more, right? Because the market is like bottomed out for anyone who didn't know, if you haven't been reading the news or taking your own pulse, right? This it's been a little squirrely for a hot minute. It's about to come back, roaring back. That's exciting. But guess what? That is a great way to understand the miles per hour. Okay, we got 3 minutes remain or 2 minutes remaining. Like, let's go ahead and give just a call to action for people who are on this call, who hung with us all the way to the end. What's the thing they should do today to make sure this all works?
Your source of everything is honestly a your local coffee shop. And if you're in a bigger area, I mean, there's a whole Mel Robbins podcast about it. When she moved and like relocated to this new spot, she found three different coffee shops, and she had three different types of people within each. Right. And so she found the one that she most aligned with. And that's where like a bunch of her connections started. And she's like a super top, if you don't know Mel Robbins, she's like one of the most popular podcast women in the world. And she interviews like the craziest, coolest people ever. Right. But that would just be it. I usually every Wednesday is when I'm in mine. But the cycle of everything that it's led to is like I have the Mayor of Shady Coast investment home listed. Right? The Mayor of Eagle Point, right? She is getting ready to purchase another investment property, and she wants to sell her house and buy actually the house literally across the street. Right? And a handful of the officers, right, of Eagle Point are now in my pocket on listing agreements
I
and
love
buyer
that.
broker agreements.
Well, and Tyler, I'm going to mention something that I've noticed that you do, and I'm going to give it to everybody else as one final takeaway here because it's exciting for me. Tyler speaks highly of everybody all the time. I don't know if everyone, if you guys haven't spent time with Tyler, he's a very positive human being. He's great to be around, and he gives you energy. But the other thing he does is he gives compliments about other people, and there's a concept called Berg, B-I-R-G, which is basking in reflected glory. And if you haven't heard of this, write it down. B-I-R-G, basking in reflected glory. Basking in reflected glory. What does that mean? It means when I say, Bob is an awesome agent. I love that guy. He's so honest and has high integrity, especially if I'm telling the truth. By the way, always tell the truth. That's just an integrity thing. But when I do that, when I speak highly, or another business owner, Karen owns that coffee shop around the corner, and she's absolutely an incredible business owner. The person hearing that associates those traits that you're speaking about more with you than they even do with the person that you're talking about. That's not the reason to do this, but I just want you to know this is a psychological phenomenon. It's 100% proven. Okay. If you speak highly of people all the time, the things that you're saying that are nice about those people actually become more true about you in the ears of the listener than they do even about that person. So is it worth your time to, I don't know, go meet great business owners and then tell all the other great business owners how great each other are? Never have to talk about yourself. They're all going to bask in reflected glory. They're all going to think that is true of you. And I guarantee Tyler's not going in saying, I'm so great, I'm so awesome. Tell me I'm false, but I know I'm right.
No, and I guess in a way, like to like end cap everything and like, I put a lot of fiscal goals and like numbered goals and everything like that like out of like where I stand, you should as well. But my biggest thing is like no matter what, if like what the real purpose behind all of it is if you have 20 in escrow, if you have 10 in escrow, you're not worried about your bills anymore. You're not worried about this. You're leveraging in all the right places. So you have all the right amount of time. And if you have that much, you can always do the right thing by everybody because the monetary side won't be a problem anymore. You can pay for an inspection for someone. You can help with somebody with this. You can help somebody with that. You can pay for that electrician to go out and do the thing. And like whatever that situational moment is, and this is like what I've been learning over the last like few months, right, of like being able to really give back, right, is like when a problem occurs and you can just say, I got you. Don't worry about it. Take it off your plate. I got you. Like that is the whole big reason for all of it. So yeah.
Let's go. That's all you need to hear today, my friends. Thanks for being here, Tyler. You rock, and you're definitely a genius. Holy moly, this was awesome, guys. All right,
Thanks,
everyone.
Tyler. Right on, man.